Hi, welcome. My name is Aladin. Thank you for joining me. Today we've got a lovely show and with a beautiful guest, an inspirational guest as well. And we're going to be talking about, guess what? Yoga. Yoga. I'm sure most of the people already know what yoga is. And I just love doing yoga myself as well. And I've always kind of had some questions in my head. And today, this lovely lady, Alison McCulley, will be talking about yoga, the benefits of yoga, and maybe give us a wee bit of background about what yoga is. So before I introduce Alison, I'm going to give you a wee brief background about Alison. Alison is a registered 200-hour yoga teacher. She went to her first yoga class over 40 years ago and thought, wow, that was 40 years ago, by the way. We didn't have internet then, but I don't know how she found the class, but we'll speak to her about that. It wasn't until 2004 she took the opportunity to take a teacher training course. She graduated in 2006 after studying classical hatha. Since then, she also started prana, vyasa, flow, seasonal and ashtanga yoga. For 8 years, she visited a drug rehab center giving yoga courses to residents as part of their rehab journey. More recently, she had been fortunate to be part of a fundraising project to raise awareness of benefits of yoga with mental health issues, which we'll be actually discussing with her today. And she also continued to attend workshops and short courses as often as possible. And that's the most important thing. It's about self-development. Never stop learning. And she also loves teaching yoga and passing it to her students. All the knowledge she has gained from her wonderful teachers and she had previously been studied with. So this is all about learning and passing on to other people, and that's what Alison has been doing for many, many years, is passing on knowledge to many, many students out there, and one of them is me, and I love going to her classes. Welcome, Alison.
Welcome, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming all the way from Stirling, is
Falkirk.
it? Falkirk. I think you call it Falkirk.
Falkirk close, Falkirk.
Thank you
yes.
for coming from Falkirk and giving me your time and coming on the show today. As I said, people have been asking me about yoga. They're actually some of the people that have been asking have never been to yoga, are actually beginners, and they don't really understand what yoga is. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the reasons I told them to maybe watch today, and they will find a wee bit about that yoga. But let's start with a bit of background about yourself. Now, 40 years ago, 40 years ago, which is not that long.
No.
That you
I'd like to think sometimes it feels a long, well, it was quite a long time ago, yeah. Uh-huh.
You went to the first yoga class. How did you find it? I mean, we were discussing it earlier that, at that time we didn't have internet. How did you find the first yoga class?
Well, all these years ago, probably it would either have been an advert in my local newspaper or an advert in the newsagent shop window. Mm-hmm. I can't remember which, but it was local. Mm-hmm. It was a nice way to get out on a Tuesday evening. Uh-huh. And I went along, and there was none of the jazzy pants that everybody wears these days. All in black. But I thought, wow, how did this person, where did she learn this? How did she become a teacher? Where did she go to teach this? Even way back then, and that was in the sort of mid-70s. Mm-hmm. My son was just a toddler. But it was quite funny sometimes because I was just so not focused on my practice at that time. And my mother-in-law had offered to babysit for me the following day on the Wednesday. And on this particular evening, we were doing candle gazing meditation, which is another form of yoga, which we can come back to later in our conversation. And I was so not focused on this candle gazing meditation because I thought, on the way home I'll go to the train station and find out what time the trains to Glasgow are, and I'll go in and shop if I'm going to have a free day to myself. So, practice and all is coming, and I obviously needed to practice meditating then. So, and some of the postures even then that the teacher was teaching me, I thought, are they levitating? Because I couldn't understand how they were getting their body off the ground and they were balancing on their hands. And I thought, there's no way my bottom's getting off of this mat. But, you know, and then sadly this teacher moved out of the area, and I didn't do yoga for, a long number of years, and came back to it in 2001, which I think probably I needed then. I had gone through all of the cardio stuff and running and this and that, but I actually myself wasn't in that great a place at that moment in time. I had moved back into the central belt of Scotland from having lived up north. I really wasn't happy. I was quite depressed about it all. And I thought, I don't want to go down the route of taking antidepressants. I must find something. And then found out about a yoga class in my local gym, went along, and as they say, the rest is history.
Wow. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have, someone had said to me way back 16, 17 years ago that I would be sitting here on a Wednesday night in a studio in Glasgow talking about yoga, I would have gone, aye, right. So that's a little bit about my journey through yoga, you know.
Yeah. So when you went to the class, like say for example, some people may be watching and saying, oh, like I would love to be a yoga teacher. So when you went to the class initially, and did you right away thought, well, I want to do this, or it took you a while, you went into it
yes,
later
I was probably more intrigued as to where this teacher had learned to train, and I think going back all of those years, she probably had gone to London, because when I did the teacher training course, I only knew of 3 teacher trainings that were available. There were possibly more, but not that many. Now there are lots of studios here in the city, in Edinburgh, and the suburbs, or as I say, in the provinces where I come from. And there are so many more opportunities to train as a yoga teacher. And if students of mine come and ask me, I try to give them advice. I maybe advise them to do a certain course, but then different courses often concentrate on different styles of yoga, which again is another part of a conversation. Because I trained in classical hatha yoga, as probably did everyone in those days. But as there are more styles of yoga. After I finished, I then studied and practiced prana vinyasa flow. So prana is our breath. Our breath is our life force. The first thing we do when we arrive in this world is we inhale. And for however long we're on this earth, we breathe. And the last thing that we do is exhale. So prana, vinyasa, the Sanskrit word vinyasa means to place with intention. So this style of yoga, we flow with the breath, we move through postures and being focused not just on the breath, but in how our body's moving, in the place that we're trying to take it to. There is also, I also studied Ashtanga yoga, which is more dynamic.
Yeah.
It's mentally and physically challenging, it can be. The Indian guru who really introduced us to the Western world sadly is no longer with us, but he would say practice and all is coming. But that's not just for Ashtanga yoga, that's for every yoga. It teaches us, hopefully, patience, acceptance, a little bit of understanding about ourselves, how our body moves, how our body works, how our breath affects us. Not just from day to day, from morning till evening. So, and there's so much more. I mean, prana is one of the ways of, pranayama is one of the 8 limbs of yoga, which again we can talk about
Yeah.
Because earlier discussion.
We were, as I said earlier, for me, as I go to your class, and I know you could move your bum off that. You float. Trust me, yours, she floats, and so. It's amazing what you do, and I look at you, I think I wish I could do that, but I don't think I ever will.
We'll do it. Don't you worry, we'll do it.
So I managed to get my head down and slightly get my legs up at the moment, but I'm getting there. But as I mentioned, when I was watching a TV program and they were explaining what yoga was, and I was quite fascinated because I go to yoga, but I don't really understand how yoga came about, exactly what yoga meant, and what they were saying. They went to India, and one of the, you might say gurus, they were saying that yoga is basically it's about breathing, just focus on the breathing, and that then they were talking to another group of people. To them, yoga was all about meditation. That's what it means, meditation. And it was interesting to see the program because everyone had the kind of the idea of what yoga meant to them, and as we were saying, there's different types of yoga. You just went over a couple of them there. How it's a bit confusing in the West because there's so many out there.
I sometimes say it's like a minefield, really, But as far as yoga, the word yoga, the Sanskrit word yoga can be translated back to union. Or to yoke.
Okay. That's good,
which is to bring together the physical body, the mind, and the bridge that links both. And again, it comes back to breath. Everything comes back to our breathing. But again, thousands of years ago, because that's how old this tradition of yoga is. It's not a religion, it's a philosophy, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
And all those years ago, the primary purpose of practicing postures or asanas was to prepare the hips and the body to sit in a comfortable position for meditation. But then a lot of people think, meditation, I don't have time to meditate. I can't sit for 45 minutes or an hour and meditate. But maybe before we finish, we'll be able to take a much quicker meditation, a few breaths, and we can practice that right at the end of this discussion, a wee talk.
I would love that. I would love that. So viewers, you need to keep watching. We will be doing a meditation at the end of the show. Yeah. So what does, somebody was asking me about, I got Peter saying, love the singing bowl there. So, you see.
We'll do the singing bowl as well at the end.
Yeah, we got Peter here, singing bowl. I lost that train. So, say somebody says, I'm not flexible, I can't go and do yoga. Is that wrong? Do you have to be flexible?
No. A lot of yoga teachers will say that, and flexibility is not like a prerequisite to come to a yoga class.
Okay.
And there's a saying, that's like saying you're too dirty to have a bath. work that one out. But everyone has a functional range of movement. We're all different shapes, we're all different sizes, our arms and our legs are all different lengths. So sometimes we can get a little bit caught up in our mind and we see this picture in our head, or we listen to a story in our mind that we must be a certain shape or size to be able to do something. And that's just so not the case. It's suitable for everyone. And if you go to a yoga class, then you should and will probably be offered modifications, because it's not everyone who can twist or bend, and it's not about putting your foot behind your head, tying yourself in knots, or coming into pretzel legs, Padmasana lotus. We work towards things. We sit and watch on the television the marathon, the London Marathon, and we think, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run. And we get to about the second lamppost past our house, and we're gasping for breath. You know, we sort of stagger home, and the next time we go out, when we go to 4th lamppost, it's a journey. It's a journey.
I think it's one of the things I find is when you go in social media and Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, and you see all these pictures of all these ladies and men doing yoga, and they're fit, and all these positions, and you look
smiling.
at like smiling. I'm like, oh, wow, it can't be. It must be a specific type of people that could only do that. And kind of I would love to see more people like who are not that way, just doing yoga and just kind of.
Myself and 2 yoga teacher friends went down to London earlier this year to go to workshops with a teacher who had come across from America, and almost the first words that she said, Instagram is killing yoga.
Oh.
And it's people predominantly, dare I say, young girls, and I know I'm not young anymore, and I don't envy them being young. I do envy their nice skin, but that's about all. The pressures of being young, I'm glad, are quite beyond me now. But people look at these photographs on Instagram, which I'm not on, by the way, and they think, I must do that. How are they doing that? And they'll get themselves into all of these positions and try to get there. And all they do is injure themselves. That's, I suppose in a way it's almost like you look at all of the supermodels that are out in their this slim size, and there's only a very small percentage of the population that are that size. As far as us girls are going, sorry guys if you're listening, but us girls. And yoga's a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll often find that if you're in a practice that whilst you should be focusing on your own mat and your own space and your practice, can't sometimes help but be a little bit distracted out your periphery vision as to what someone beside you is doing. And then that's when the judgmental button sometimes can get switched on, and you go, why am I not twisting as far as they are? How are they twisting deeper than I am? But then maybe 2-3 postures into the practice, you'll be in a forward fold and they'll be kind of halfway there, and you might want to have a wee ha-ha moment, but
that sounds like me, halfway there. I'm looking at the other like, wow. But it's like you go to, and eventually as time goes on, you keep going to the class, the classes, and slowly you get slightly better,
yes,
and you just manage to reach the floor, touch the floor.
It's a journey. And I, just sort of doubling back to, I think you sort of mentioned, or maybe not yet, and I'm preempting you, about beginners. I have this little thing about labelling people beginners. I know everyone has to begin somewhere, and there's always a starting point for everyone. But this is just purely a personal thing that I have about labelling someone, a student, a beginner. I feel that I don't have that authority. Oh, you are a beginner. Oh, you've been coming for 6 weeks now. You're not a beginner anymore. You are an intermediate. People progress at their own rate. Is a beginner someone who can sit in a mat? Is an intermediate person someone who can bring themselves to a lotus position? Is an advanced practitioner someone who can do a headstand? I don't have the authority to say to someone, I'm going to put this label on you, because that's us being judged. And I think, again, just purely personal, I think that we're judged far too much in our daily life. Does this suit me? Should I wear this colour? Should I buy that? Or what do you think of me in here? This or that? This is again very kind of female orientated, I know, but guys, think about the shirt you're going to put on tomorrow morning, maybe something like that, We come onto our mat, and our mat for me is a neutral position. It's a neutral place. No judgments. We come to our mat, no expectations from our practice. and hopefully we leave with no judgments. We roll up our mat, we have a nice smile, inwardly, outwardly. Go and have a cup of tea, a cup of chai.
Thank you for that. As you mentioned that there's so many kind of types of yoga, how would somebody know which one's right for them? I know kind of think we just touched on that, but I think we had a discussion that somebody might go to a class and they think, oh my God, that's hard, and then suddenly they never go again. Then there's a different kind of classes, it's more gentle, maybe it's just right for them. So I think we discussed that before, that somebody should actually go to different kind of classes and see which one fits them.
I think that there are more, GPs especially, are saying to their patients, go to a yoga class, or maybe a chiropractor, osteopath, physiotherapist. Go to a yoga class. But then, like I said earlier, sometimes it can be a little bit of a minefield. And I've often had students come in and say, oh, my GP told me to come to a yoga class. And my first thought is, well, can I ask why, why you felt that you needed to come? Because they could quite easily walk into a totally inappropriate class. It may be too dynamic, such as Ashtanga. And the last thing that I personally would like or not like to see is someone leave feeling totally overwhelmed by the whole experience. So if you're going to a yoga class in a yoga studio, maybe find out which class, if you're thinking about going on a certain day or a certain time, if that particular class is given a name, like Yin Yoga. Yin Yoga is very gentle, you hold your postures for a prolonged period of time. It's becoming very, very popular. And it's as much to do with our thoughts as letting go, because we hold on so much. And this yin practice maybe tries to help us let go. Dhru yoga is another yoga that's more gentle. So try to find out, if you're going to a class, maybe what the style of yoga is going to be. But again, whichever class you do go into, then hopefully the teacher will be aware that this would be your first visit and be able to give you modifications, to be there for you, to help you. Maybe some yoga teachers might come and assist you by maybe adjusting into your feet or your shoulders slightly. But again, hopefully they will have asked if you're comfortable with them, you being in their space rather. So if you do happen to go to a yoga class and it's your first time and you haven't found it a particularly good experience, please don't give up. Go to another class, go to another teacher. Find your style of yoga, find someone that you connect to. And you should just, it's like forming a friendship, this connection with your teacher. And from there, the rest would fall into place.
Well, from my own experience, I've been to few yoga classes and different teachers, and all are so different. The style of yoga is different. And like yourself, you come and adjust me, which I find is much better. So I could be doing yoga for many years and then nobody's coming to adjust me, and I could be doing the wrong way. And I think what you do is good. You just put me right, and I could feel it. And next time I'm like, oh, that's wrong. Then that's what Alison did. I need to go back to that. So I become more aware of what position I should be in, the right and aligned or anything like that. So you're right. I think people should actually go to few classes.
Oh, absolutely.
And feel which one's right for them, and yoga's
be
so
open.
different. Be open.
Be open to even going to lots of different styles of yoga. You may prefer Prana-Vinyasa flow, but then it would be nice to dip into Ashtanga possibly, or Yin, or there's a new style of yoga out, aerial yoga, which is done in hammocks. You practice in hammocks, and that can be really good if maybe you have an injury and you're maybe just coming back into your yoga, and the hammock can support you. And at the end of your practice, you get inside this big amount of cloth, and you just cuddle in, and you just coorie down, as they would say. Yeah. And you cocoon yourself in this fabric, and it's becoming very popular. It's becoming very popular.
It's also quite hot. Is it hot yoga?
Hot yoga. I'm not such a big fan of hot yoga. I think that just for me, again, personally, that I prefer to practice in a warm space and allow my body to open internally rather than to immediately go into a hot space. And the perspiration, the sweat is external.
Yeah.
But again, it's becoming very popular. So I'm not saying don't go, because again, I don't have that authority to say that, because it's never a one size fits all.
Yes, right, yeah.
That's like saying everyone should be a certain size or wear a certain colour or a certain piece of clothing, something, and just slot everyone into be open. It's the whole philosophy of yoga. It comes back to the philosophy of yoga again.
Oh, thank you for that. No, we could just get the thing we went over just says you do fundraising, a project, awareness of benefits of yoga with mental health issues. That's interesting. What's this about?
So I was really fortunate. I have a couple of friends who are yoga teachers, and one of them, who also lives in Falkirk, approached me and said, I've had this idea about trying to raise money for SAMH, which is the mental health charity in Scotland. And she had her children at Camera Obscura in Edinburgh. And I don't know exactly where her mind was, but she had this thought, this light bulb moment, if you like, to have a calendar produced. So she asked me to be part of this group of yogis. So 12 of us got together, and we all went off to Camera Obscura, and we had our photograph taken in a yoga posture in various parts of Camera Obscura. If you haven't been to Camera Obscura, I think I was in like the mirrors, the magic mirrors, and it was really not to do any fancy postures, but just to really highlight that you can look at things in all different ways. So anyway, it was very successful, and there was a substantial amount of money raised for SAMH, which was really good, and I was really grateful to be part of that. But 3 weeks ago, we also went off to the Scottish Parliament to host an event there to highlight the benefits of yoga for mental health, and that was a really, really good experience. Another yogi friend who's not a yoga teacher, but she does healing with sound, and she had her singing bowl, she had her gong bath with her, so we made that part of the evening. And 2 teachers from Edinburgh did some chair yoga as well, so which kind of comes almost full circle back to our last conversation. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can still do yoga. You can do yoga practice sitting in a chair. Postures can be adapted for anyone to practice yoga. So
it doesn't matter if, say somebody has a back problem or certain conditions, MS, or I don't know, person with diabetes, it doesn't matter. It's what about women who are pregnant? They do yoga?
Yes, pregnancy yoga. I've had a lot of students come to me and say, pregnant, and I'll joke and say, I'm going to get the bubble wrap out and I'll just look after you for the next 7 months or whatever it is. So I've actually seen quite a lot of babies, not actually seen them arrive, but the mums have been there. Yes, and it can be so beneficial. Again, going back to almost the start of our conversation, breathing our prana can be so beneficial when expectant mums come into labour.
Is there children's yoga?
And children's yoga. Mother and toddler yoga is very popular. So once you've had the baby, bring the babies along. You can do a little yoga practice. They maybe want to just initially play with some toys, but then get them involved in mother and toddler yoga. And then again, there's so much publicity just now about the benefits of yoga and mindfulness. And gratefully, there's a lot more schools beginning to bring yoga into the curriculum. And the class can be adjusted and modified for children as well to make it exciting. And for them, you can make it into a little story. And they can maybe be in the jungle and come across a lion, and then do a tiger and be trees. And children just love this because they can get lost in this. They maybe don't have the concentration to do a long practice. Maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes is enough. But just to let them dip their toe into yoga at such an early age is great as well.
Yeah, I haven't really seen many kind of advertisement about children's yoga. I personally haven't seen. So I know that we kind of touched on that earlier about children's yoga, and I think that's really would be beneficial for children. That's where you start children. That's where you teach children yoga. That's
Exactly.
where they should be starting.
I mean, it's like a lot of things. The younger we learn something, then the more it becomes part of our life. And what could be better than doing yoga?
Yeah, why not? As I say, you never stop learning. It's just
constantly, always a student.
Always a student.
Not just me, you.
Yes,
all of us.
Yeah, and it's good to know that, because sometimes people might think, well, look at a yoga teacher, he or she knows, they know everything and they don't need to learn anymore. But we all are learning. We are all students. We are all
without a doubt. It's sometimes you'll say, well, don't say too much or you might just get caught out, sort of thing. But that's why I try to attend as many workshops. It might be for 2-3 hours one afternoon. It may be a series of workshops over a weekend, or it may be a short course that involves maybe 20, 30, 50 hours, something like that. But it's continually trying to learn, and everything that I learn, sometimes I'll go to a workshop and I'll get so much out of it, and other times maybe not quite so much, but you never go. It's like going into a yoga class again, just bringing the conversation slightly round again. You go into a yoga class and you'll think, I really like that teacher, but I don't know that I like that style, or I like the way that was explained to me. And maybe not get a lot, but you will always get something from every workshop, every short course, every yoga class you go to. You'll get a little nugget of information to cling on to. And then, keeping it in the lineage, we then go, and whatever I learn, I'll give to you. And others, hopefully.
No, I definitely learn a lot from yourself. Yes, as like you, I'm a student, but a long way to go. But I'm enjoying it. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. It's not. Yes, it's serious to a certain extent, but you don't want to. You can't not enjoy yoga. It's like anything. If you do something and you think, I'm not really enjoying this, it's so easy to stop. But there's so much constantly to learn with yoga. And just when you think that you've got there, you find out you haven't actually. And there's so much more to learn. So yes, always a student.
Always a student. Now, you've got this singing bowl. It'd be good to, so you're going to do some meditation or your breathing, counting. I'd like to, we got time anyway, but I would love to try this with the viewers and see.
Would you like to try? Would you like to hold this singing bowl?
No, you go ahead. I actually had the Peter on.
I try to finish practice. It brings the very final posture in a yoga practice is Shavasana. Corpse pose, where we lie on our backs in almost exposing ourselves, not nakedly, I mean, without any clothes, but opening our heart, and then to bring us out of this Shavasana, this posture, the ultimate surrender posture, Shavasana. I bring students round by chiming the bowl just 3 times, and every time that you tap this bowl with this, you'll get a different sound. You can run the wand round the inner or outer edge of the bowl, and that's where it gets its name, singing bowl. So that's a singing bowl.
That's a singing bowl.
And that's your singing bowl. They come in various sizes, and the larger the bowl and the slightly thicker, you get a different tone. So a smaller bowl will give you a much higher pitch than this.
I'm happy to try it. Let me try.
Yeah, you should.
I should.
Just hold it in the palm of your hand and try to keep your fingers out, because then you'll feel the vibration go up into the palm of your hand, and it's that way. And it hit the bowl.
I don't think I did it right.
No, that was lovely. Just keep it going and keep it a little bit harder, maybe a little bit firmer, and then tap it maybe to the opposite side. Or I'll bring this into class tomorrow. Can you hear that? Can you still hear that? And if you hold it up a little bit, it goes into the. Yeah.
Wow. Because I had Peter on, the singing bowl man, and he tried some of his singing bowls. It's amazing. But I love it.
I've got this large one and then a much smaller one. But I know people who have, like
so
5, 10.
Yeah. Right. So you were talking about counting, breathing.
Yes. So meditation, I quite often, again, either begin a practice, and I tend to say practice rather than class, because we're always practicing.
Yeah.
What we did this morning in practice might not be what we do in an evening practice, or from one week or one day to the next. So I start either with this counted meditation or I finish with it. And a lot of people have this concept, or this preconception of meditation. You've got to have to sit and not move in this kind of rigidly still position for maybe, half an hour, up to an hour. But we can alter our minds, we can alter our breathing, we can bring ourselves down, as it were, in a much shorter space of time. So for whoever's watching, if you would like to join me in a counted meditation.
Yes, why not? Let's go.
So you don't need to be able to count Sanskrit. If you want to practice this, I'll count in Sanskrit. But if you want to try this on your own later on or tomorrow, then 1, 2, and count your breaths. So we're going to count. You sit in a comfortable position.
Now let's do
whichever. Cross-legged, straight legs, lean against the wall, feel your spine being supported, whatever works for you. Your legs can be straight out in front of you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to softly close our eyes. And we've probably taken maybe 2 breaths, 3 possibly. And each breath will have just been that little bit different from the one before, the one that followed. So wherever you are in your breath pattern, fully exhale. We're going to breathe in and out through our nose. So Ekam, inhale. Ekam, exhale. Dwe, inhale. Dwe, exhale. Trini, inhale. Trini, exhale. Chatavari, inhale. Chatavari, exhale. Pansha, inhale. Pansha, exhale. Shat, inhale. Shat, exhale. Sapta, inhale. Sapta, exhale. Ashto, inhale. Ashto, exhale. Nava, inhale. Nava, exhale. Desha, inhale. Desha, exhale. Akadasha, inhale. Akadasha, exhale. Dwadasha, inhale. Dwadasha, exhale. Triodasha, inhale. Triodasha, exhale. Shaturdasha, inhale. Shaturdasha, exhale. Panchadasha, inhale. Panchadasha, exhale. Shodasha, inhale. Shodasha, exhale. Saptadasha, inhale. Saptadasha, exhale. Aktadasha, inhale. Aktadasha, exhale. Akunavimshitihi, inhale. Akunavimshitihi, exhale. Akunavimshitihi, inhale. Akunavimshitihi, exhale. And then slowly opening your eyes. Deep breath in through your nose. Slow breath out. 20 breaths. 20 breaths. I think I maybe counted 19 twice. Never mind.
Thank you, Alison. That
You're
was
very
lovely.
welcome.
That is
Thank you. Namaste, everyone.
That is so relaxing. I
Go
hope
to
that-
yoga.
Go to yoga. That is so relaxing. I hope the viewers can follow the breathing with us. Is that, if you haven't, you have had the chance, maybe look at the recording and follow the breathing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Your mind just goes calm, and a lot of people ask me, they've got racing minds, but doing this breathing, it does help.
And it doesn't need to be counted in Sanskrit. 1 inhale, 1 exhale. 2 inhale and 2 exhale. Slower than that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Alison. That's kind of
Thank you
run out
for
of time.
listening and inviting me to be here.
No, it's amazing to have you. I'm so glad. As I said, I'm loving going to your class and learning from you. I try to go 3 times a week, but I don't. But at least I'm
We'll get your bottom off the mat.
I'm going to work on that. Every day I go there to your class. I'm like, I need to do this, but I'll take my time. And I thought, it's whenever when I'm ready, it'll happen. Naturally. But anyway, thank you again. Thank you for coming. Maybe maybe one of the shows we could come along and take this table away, and you could maybe show us some yoga exercise.
Well, maybe you could do some yoga and I'll just assist you.
Yeah, that would be
How
good.
about that? There we are.
I'm sure viewers will be laughing at me, but I would love that. That's something that we should actually do. So yeah, viewers, maybe kind of watch out for this show on this. But thank you, viewers, for coming on and joining me and Alison. I'm so lucky to have amazing guests coming on every week and sharing their knowledge and the experience and their beautiful energy with all the viewers out there. And I really want to thank all the guests and thank Alison today for coming on. Next week we've got another amazing guest coming on. We'll be talking about superfoods and we'll be mixing the foods here on, and drinking it. That will be amazing. So please join me then. I also want to thank the guys here in the studio, Graphics Media, Tarek and Usman and a few others, which I don't even know the names yet. But I thank for kind of looking at setting everything up, and without you guys I wouldn't be able to do the videos. Thank you for that, and thank you to Samina doing my makeup in here every Wednesday. Thanks, Samina, you're an inspiration lady. We should get you on and talk about your journey as well. We'll do that. And thank you to all the viewers kind of watching it every week, tuning in and watching the show. Without you, guys out there and ladies, lovely ladies out there, I wouldn't be able to do the show. Thank you for that, and thank you for encouraging me and empowering me to do the shows every week. So please join me next Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the studios. We have another lovely guest, and she'll be sharing sharing her knowledge with you, everybody out there. So I hope you could join me next week, and have a beautiful week and a weekend. Bye.
If you have a dream